Bears fans, YouTube, welcome back to another episode of Bears Fans Talk. Johnny CMD here as always with the main event, Kevin Haggerty, and it finally happened. Matt Eberflus has been fired.
If you haven't heard,
and a lot of things have happened over just the last couple of days that are worth talking about. But I think I need to start this with the play heard around the world.
Oh, is that what we're calling it?
Yeah, that's you know what, prime time. Thanksgiving Day, everyone talking about it, everyone really calling for Eberflus's job. Let's just kind of watch it, and then we'll break it down afterwards. So Caleb Williams just sacked.
Mind you, we were already in field goal range.
So no, I'm not sure we were. It was close at that point.
We
were driving. Tevin Jenkins had a hands to the. So they got. I think they got as close to like the 25. I want to say.
That's not field goal range.
That is field goal range, but then Tevin Jenkins had a hands to the face, and I think they lost 10 yards. So the 35. They're the 35. Someone comes in unblocked in the play preceding this, and Caleb Williams gets sacked, knocks him out of field goal range. 31 seconds left at that time.
I feel like that's still it's a point to be noted that they were within field goal range.
They were at one point. They were in field goal range, and then I'm watching this at work. And I'm just like, these head motions, like, there's no sense of urgency here. And we can just finish watching the play. Caleb Williams takes a shot, and it falls at the feet of Roma Dunze.
So, like, how epic would it have been if he did complete it, though? Because, like, I did say last week that, like, this is the type of game that Flus wins and keeps his job.
Yeah.
Right? And, like, if they would have completed the game, it would be a completely different conversation. But they didn't, and they lost, and Flus is fired.
I wonder, but you know what? Like, how much different things would be. So, obviously, this play, one timeout in your back pocket, and then you take that stupid shot. You run out of time with a timeout left. Everyone is talking about it after. Everyone's calling for Flus's job, and we'll get to the next part. But so let's talk about this play and this game.
So the game,
we'll start there.
The game in general. So before this whole thing happened at the end of it, I was going to call this game the tale of two halves.
Yeah.
Because the first half was atrocious.
Yeah.
It was literally embarrassing what they put out there.
I wouldn't say it was that bad. You know what? Like,
are you kidding me?
I mean, the offense couldn't move. So the offense, what I said last week is the Bears need to like run and gun, and we need to keep this. We need to keep our offense on the field. We need to take shots. But unfortunately, we were 3 and out, 4 and out, and 6 and out. I think.
Oh my gosh, it was so bad.
So yeah, we just couldn't get things moving. The defense held people. The offense didn't like. There was no plays that were just like really head scratchers from the offensive standpoint. We just couldn't get anything moving. Dude, you're right. In the second half, something clicked.
First half, they only held the ball for 7 minutes.
Yeah.
2 first downs and 57 total yards.
Yeah.
Like
it was bad first half. We've probably had worse ones this year.
I don't know.
To be really honest.
It was brutal, and like I remember just thinking as I was watching the game, I was like, the first half, I was like, oh my god, I can't believe this is like the product we're watching here.
No, I think we still went down only 2 scores. I think it was 16-0.
Well, it was because they were kicking field goals.
Yeah,
thankfully, the only thing that was keeping us in the game. But like, more or less, like when I saw the second half and the way the offense responded and the way Thomas Brown was running the off and like things were going good, and like I was like, okay, we're gonna be okay. Like, and then this play happened, and like that completely derailed everything. But like it almost felt like the Bears were like trying to loot like that play. Like before, like we've obviously had 6 days to dissect this and every which way, and Flus got fired. But like walking away from the game, I was like, you know what? If they keep Flus around, it was intentional.
Yeah.
Like, it almost felt intentional that, like, it was weird.
I don't think it was intentional.
No, it wasn't.
I think
it was like finding ways to lose.
The way this played out in Matt Eberflus's mind was that they were going to get to the line quickly. They were going to get a playoff and do whatever. I've heard from, there's so much been circling around this. I heard that there was never a play that got into Caleb. I've heard that maybe Caleb just thought that this was going to be it. This was going to be the last play. I've got to take a shot here. So that's why there wasn't really so much, movement.
I mean, it doesn't matter.
But at the end of the day, Matt Eberflus is the one.
I mean, he could call a timeout. If you can't get the play in, call the timeout. Like, come on, dude. And like it felt like the way the Bears have been losing on this skid since coming back from London and the bye, it has been like they have found ways to lose that you can't even write in a storybook.
Yeah, so we're in a 6-game losing streak right now. I want to say 4 of those games. We had the opportunity to win or at least tie those games. So before we move on to the firing of Matt Eberflus and the kind of weird nature of the way that actually came about the following day, do you think that if things didn't go down in this nature, that
he would sell the job?
Yeah. So I mean, I think the obvious the answer is obvious. Like the fact that they ran out of time with the timeout, and that's egregious and it's embarrassing. I think that's why he lost his job. But let's say that this kind of had a more vanilla ending to the game. Let's say Caleb threw an interception.
Yeah.
Like on that play he got sacked. Let's say he threw an interception instead. Would you walk away from this game being like, wow, we hung with the Detroit Lions and we almost beat them?
That's the point, though. Like I've said on this podcast multiple times,
the Detroit Lions are a elite team in
the NFC runs through Detroit at home, and the Bears stuck it to them, and they were in position to win. And like I walked away from that game like, yes, the end of the game was atrocious. Negligence, whatever you want to put on it, whatever word or label you want to put on it, that's bad. Yes, but like, I mean, I walked away from the game feeling actually like, holy shit, like it was what, a 10-point spread in the Bears Cup. Like, I mean, the Bears came back, they showed heart, and they looked good in the second half. And like, I was more positive. I had more positive take. If Eberflus didn't get fired, I was like, there's nothing that would fire him. First of all, but second of all, like, it had to be a thing where it's like, all right, guys, we've found every which way to lose. Now let's win. Yeah. But I mean, I just don't even know. I mean, like, obviously it's not true because he got fired, but it was like they played good. Yeah. So I mean, it was a good game. It was an exciting game. Yeah. So Eberflus, when it comes down to it, it's just like it's got to be more than coincidence that you got a 5-18 or 5-19 record in one-score games, especially when a lot of them have come down to just like these things where you could really kind of pinpoint coaching. There were some player issues as well, and I'm coming at it, and I have been coming at it as just the most dispassionate person as possible in terms of the Eberflus situation. I've never been calling for his head, but if he wasn't fired here today, I probably would have just been like, we've just got to move on. We've got to figure it out. But anyway, that brings us to the next day. The next day, after the whole, post game of people calling for his job, he comes out and does his routine 9 a.m. press conference. And I remember I was at work and I heard that, and like there were already some articles coming out being like he must be keeping his job, and then he seemed to be focusing on next week. And he's preparing for San Francisco. I'll be confident I'm preparing for San Francisco was the quote. And
then about an hour later, it gets announced that he's lost his job.
What else was he going to say? Like at a press? Well, first he probably shouldn't have been at the press conference.
That's exactly my point. It's like, and that is not on Matt. That's like an and I feel bad for Eberflus in this situation. The fact that he had to like get up there and he doubled down and like, hey,
what was he supposed to do?
Well, I mean, you can't double down. It's to a degree. You got to realize you fucked up. Like, you needed to take that timeout or something. Like, you didn't put your team in position to win there. There wasn't a plan there in the final seconds of the game. And maybe you can pin it on Caleb. He can't say that. But anyway, the fact that he got trotted out there to meet the media when he could have just been fired beforehand the night before, and he could spend that time with his family the day after Thanksgiving. So I feel bad from that standpoint. I think it shows a lot of like lack of class from Ryan Poles and Kevin Warren, the fact that, or at least a lack of organization.
I was going to say, I think it's the latter, not class. I think they're just not organized over there. I think it's a more of a. Kevin Warren.
I think they didn't know what was going to happen, or what the final decision was going to be at that moment, and they didn't have the foresight to be like, don't meet the media yet.
The McCaskies are probably like, they need the final sign off. Yeah. Maybe Virginia's still in bed. I don't know, man. I'm not trying to be rude, but like, I don't know what else could be going on. Why that?
I think that's probably exactly what it was. Is like they needed to get the final sign off. It's the day after Thanksgiving, so who knows what everyone is doing.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, like you're running a multi-billion-dollar organization here. Yeah. Like let's do it.
And then neither one met the media that day.
Yep.
But I think we found out pretty early that Thomas Brown was going to be
the interim head coach.
The interim head coach.
Yep.
I think it was 2 days ago. Ryan Poles and Kevin Warren then had a press conference that we just got done watching, and I had heard a little bit about it. But
first of all,
what was your reaction to?
So Kevin Warren, he says the same crap every time he speaks. Lawyers speak, world-class organization. I feel like he's just got these talking points, and he sticks to the talking points. And I feel like every time he speaks, And it's the same stuff, just said slightly differently. It's like the same script.
Yeah, it's like we're building a world-class organization.
We have the best fans in the world.
Yeah.
Like, same stuff. Like, the fans deserve better. Like the same stuff, dude. And I'm not sitting here hating. It's just like, you can't say the same thing over and over again. Like, it's I can do that.
My takeaway from the press conference isn't so much what Kevin Warren said, is the fact that they opened up this 20-minute press conference and Kevin spoke for 8 minutes uninterrupted and then handed the mic over to Ryan Poles, who looked just despondent the entire time.
Yep.
Like, eyes mostly focused down at like his script that he ended up reading from, and then just did not seem to exude a lot of confidence. And he spoke for about 90 seconds before they opened it up for questions.
I mean, I think it's the Kevin Warren show, to be honest. Like, I mean, Kevin Warren's like, if I need to have someone to speak, I'm gonna have Kevin Warren speak. He's a good speaker.
Yeah.
We've watched too many press conferences from him to know what he's gonna say. But
the thing is, it's like when I think of the person who is making, and the person we've been talking about in terms of making the decisions from the football standpoint, I think of Ryan Poles. And you know what? What I wanted to hear Ryan Poles speak, and I wanted to hear him talk about the decision to fire Eberflus. Talk about Matt Eberflus was hired only 2 days after Ryan Poles got the job, and there's some speculation as to whether or not Ryan Poles was told that he needs to hire Matt Eberflus. But I kind of want to know Ryan Poles' perspective on it, and then also the fact that one of the things that Ryan Poles said coming out of last year is we need to get the offensive coordinator signing rights, and they did not.
Nope, they did not.
They did not. So. Two really big L's that Ryan Poles has to wear, and that we need to, the next couple of months are going to be so important from a draft standpoint, from a hiring standpoint. And right now, I just don't have any reason to approach it with any confidence that he's going to get it right this time around. And is it Kevin Warren's show? Is Kevin Warren doing it? Is it the McCaskies who are going to be making these decisions?
I think, yeah.
And are the Bears going to be aggressive about finding the right guy?
So there's a lot of stuff you put out there. So what I will say is, like, the advantage the Bears do have is firing Eberflus now. Like, the coaching carousel kind of starts the second the playoffs start. Yeah. Like, during the playoffs, they'll actually have like OCs interviewing for other jobs, like in the playoffs. Like, that actually occurs.
Okay.
So, like, I guess the Bears now have a better opportunity to be like clean slate, know the job's open, which is actually to their advantage. So I'm glad we're sitting in that position.
Yeah.
So, like, that's a positive, number one.
What I had worried about, just as a little bit of an aside, and I had thought of this metaphor a couple of weeks ago when I had thought about, like, so let's say you're going to fire Matt Eberflus at the end of the season, but he's still your head coach. Are you allowed to go and talk to other people? And like
backdoor talk.
I think the answer is no. It kind of reminded me of my brief stint in Tinder when I was dating a girl. Not super seriously, but for like a month and a half, and it was starting to go south. I was starting to kind of eye the door of the relationship, and I changed my profile picture on Tinder, and she caught me. Yeah. So that's kind of like the equivalent of like having the head coach, but knowing you're looking for the next one.
I don't know if you had a head
and it did not
coach,
work out well for me.
Yeah.
And I don't think it would have worked out well for the Bears either. So you're right. I'm glad they have this clean slate.
I think, though, like, it's kind of like the recruiting thing, like during the All-Star game that, like, LeBron James gets in trouble for. Like, I don't think you're allowed. I think there's, like, rules that you can't, like, recruit when you have a current head coach. So this like labor laws, like the NFL union is pretty strong. But anyways, so like there's that. The second thing, I guess, more or less, like, can they get it right, which is the bigger question. They have all the time in the world now to get this right.
Yeah.
And, like, there's some decent candidates out there. Not only that, the Bears, like, they're a very attractive destination. There's no reason why you wouldn't want to come to Chicago and be the head coach. Now, the problem is like, can you get lucky on? So, like, there's a couple ways they can go here. Do they want to go the whiz kid route? Try to find the next Kyle Shanahan, Mike McDaniels, right? Like, is that what they want to go?
Yeah.
Right? We tried that before with Matt Nagy. That didn't work out, right? With Mark Trestman, that didn't work out.
Right.
Do you go with a seasoned vet, right? And most of the seasoned vets that are out there are defensive-minded.
Yeah.
Do we want that?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Or do we see what I'm excited to see what Thomas Brown can do. The press conference that I've seen, the interviews I've seen from him, I don't not like him, John.
I will agree with you.
I do not like him.
I will agree with you.
He seems, and I heard the comp, like, before I listened to any of his press conferences, someone said they reminded him of Mike Tomlin.
I mean, it's hard to kind of not roll my eyes in that comment just because he kind of looks like Mike Tomlin with the beard.
Yeah, and
he's like Mike Tomlin.
He looks like he'll beat the shit out of you too. Like, he looks like he can put on pads tomorrow, and like Mike Tomlin literally looks like he can put on pads and compete out there.
I don't feel that way about Thomas.
But when you hear him speak and you talk, he kind of gives Mike Tomlin vibes, like the no BS. Like, I don't care about stats. Like, I can totally see that coming out of his mouth.
What I will say is I did really appreciate Thomas Brown's, and I think the one thing that will really stick with me, regardless of how long Thomas Brown is with us, is he said something along the lines of like, I think it was kind of in response to the fact that a lot of the locker room stuff was kind of getting leaked out to the media, and people were talking. And he just said, I love my neighbors. My neighbors don't know what goes on inside my house. That's none of their business. And I think that was a kind of sign to to the team. It's like, hey, we need to lock this down.
Sure.
We need to lock in, and we need to tighten up our ship.
Yeah.
Because things like when. The players told Shane Waldron that they needed to coach them harder.
Yeah.
That got leaked out there, and that absolutely just like soiled any ounce of credibility. Just lots of stuff kind of getting out there like that. So I did like his press conference.
Yeah.
Do you think that Thomas Brown should seriously be considered for the head?
So let's go back to the next thing. This dude was basically the water boy when the season started.
That's true.
I mean, I'm just putting it out
Less than 3 weeks ago, he was the passing coordinator, which neither one of us know what that job is.
I just have to qualify that really quick before I continue my statement. Okay, so like we'll call him passing coordinator, call him the water boy, whatever you want. Now he's the head coach of the Chicago Bears, arguably the best open position in the NFL. So there's that. But from what I've seen, the way he's been playing calls thus far, he seems. Remember how we were talking? First of all, going back to Mike Tomlin, if you remember, if you guys listened to season 1. When Pittsburgh was freaking out about Mike Tomlin, I was like,
we were hoping that we were just going to be able to scoop.
I would love Mike Tomlin here, and like, who does Mike Tomlin remind me of?
You're talking about?
Well, MCDC,
okay,
leader of men.
Yeah.
This guy kind of seems more of like the neighbor conversation. Like, that's the type of conversation, the type of aura that I want in Chicago for the Chicago Bears. Okay, I don't want any of this, Matt Nagy's BS or Tressman's BS, even John Fox. I don't even want any of that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, he seems like he's got a good aura. Yeah, give him a shot. I'm okay with it.
And
I'm okay with it, John.
I think the Bears go 5-0.
I was gonna say.
I'm saying no shot. Thomas Brown is the coach of this team.
Oh, we're gonna do shot or no shot.
Yes. Not to rip off Cap and J Hood, but that's just the first. You can't. This guy's got no pedigree behind him.
I disagree.
And he's got.
I disagree.
Give him the keys of Caleb Williams' development.
But what if Caleb likes him? What if the team responds to him? What if they actually what was the big thing about Flus that everyone said?
What? That he was a player's guy?
He was a player's guy.
Yeah.
Came out, the players were not about him.
Yeah.
Jalen Johnson was like ready to who's pissed.
I just think that Eberflus lost control, and sometimes being the nice guy, you lose control of the locker room.
This guy seems like a no shit type of guy, dude. I don't know. I'm just saying, if he can come in, if he goes 5-0, there is not only a legitimate shot, there is I'm for it, and I want to have a dark horse kind of. Like, why not have the dark horse story? How great would it be to have a dark horse story like this?
There's just nothing, and I could end up being wrong. Like 5 years from now, Thomas Brown, after spending some more time as an offensive coordinator, gets his shot, and I could be wrong, but I just don't think I'm ready to, on such a small sample size, say that he's the guy going forward. Especially when there's other stuff out there, because to me it would just be like, if we go with Thomas Brown, it's because we're going for the cheap option yet again.
Okay. That's a legitimate point, cheap option. But let me just read this off to you really quick. Who they have the rest of the schedule, who they're going to beat 5-0. They're going to beat San Francisco at San Fran. They're going to beat the Vikings at Vikings.
And then it's just the NFC North.
Then they're going to play home at Detroit, home against Seattle, then at Green Bay. If he wins all 5 of those games, you're telling me there's no way you would consider him for that coach?
I mean, it's hyperbole to say I won't consider him, but I would never feel good about it.
There is a shot.
They come at
there
the
is
end
a shot if he wins those 5 games.
I mean, yeah, there's a shot, but I don't think they should.
If he goes in the Lambeau, remember how many games has it been since the Bears beat the Packers?
It's been 11 now.
So if he goes in and beats them at Lambeau in week 18 is it? I mean, I don't know. Like that kind of keys to the city situation for me, Johnny.
So who else is out there in your mind as a potential hire?
So Shane, our guy from our you're not on Instagram right now, but he sent it right before I came here. There's rumors floating around right now. Since you're not on Instagram, I'll float it to you.
Yeah, what's up?
There's a word on the street that there's a team, a whiz kid, a very successful head coach.
Head coach
okay. Currently that we would trade for the head coach. I'm going to tell you it's going to be 2 first-round picks to trade for him. Who do you think that head coach would be?
I feel like I've heard Sean McVay kind of get floating around.
Not Sean McVay, but close. Kyle
Shanahan?
Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah.
So why does it make sense? First of all, Niners have no draft capital.
Yeah.
They've traded. John Lynch has done a great job building that organization. They're on
the Niners are on the precipice of a rebuild with all the situation going on.
They have to play Purdy. He's getting paid soon. Yeah. They need some draft capital. Trade Shanahan away. Like Purdy, you got your quarterback. Would you do that? 2 first-round picks.
2 first-round picks. I'm not sure I could justify it, though. Kyle Shanahan would be the type of guy I do want, as opposed to Thomas Brown. Yes.
Okay, so let me just play it out for you. So someone's like, oh, too much draft capital, blah, blah, blah. Who knows if you're going to hit with a first-round pick? We have $80 million of cap space. I'm just saying, why do we have to build through the draft and develop players? Why can't we use some of that cap space, build that offensive line? Now, I don't know what offensive linemen are out in free agency.
That's the thing. It's just like, I think that really great offensive linemen, they don't bounce around a lot.
But here's the thing, though. What if, I'm just saying, you bring in Kyle Shanahan with Caleb and all the young talent we have. If I'm an offensive lineman, or if I'm a defensive lineman, or if I'm a guy who can legitimately be a game changer and I care about winning, I'd come to a great city like Chicago.
My concern is
I'm just saying we could become a destination city for free agents.
We've just never been that. I'm not sure Kyle Shanahan would make us that.
Kyle Shanahan's won the 2 Super Bowls he's been to.
I'm not saying I think Kyle Shanahan would be the ideal option. He's a proven guy who I do think that could come in and actually change a culture.
Yes.
But giving up a lot of draft capital, I just don't think that we could rebuild. The positions specifically that we need are ones that I don't think that you can often find in free agency. We would have to either trade, which that would equal draft capital, but I think more realistically we would need to draft. I'd want to go because we're probably going to have 3 picks in the top 40 this year. I think that we're going to have to go I don't know. Offensive lineman, defensive lineman.
Carolina.
Not necessarily that order, but I think.
But Carolina's turning it on now. Bryce Young looks competent. Uh-oh.
But then the worst case scenario, they pass the Bears, and the Bears just have that's who Carolina's competing with right now in terms of their draft. Because we're saying is that we have Carolina's 2nd round pick,
correct,
which we thought was going to be the
33rd
pick, the first pick of the 2nd round. Though they're starting to look a little bit better. Good for Bryce Young. I'm happy to see that he's playing a little bit.
They almost won 2 weeks ago, and they won last week.
Good for them.
They gave KC a run for their money 2 weeks ago. I'm just saying that Carolina's playing, but I'm putting it out there. I think it's the trading of head coach. Do you remember the first head coach that was traded? Do you remember?
I don't.
So it wasn't even.
I don't know much about this process.
I don't either. All I know is that the first time I ever heard about it was in basketball. Do you remember when this happened?
No.
The Boston Celtics traded Doc Rivers away to
the Clippers.
Okay. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that it was a trade.
Yeah, I was like, how can you trade head coaches?
Yeah.
It was the most absurd concept to me in the world. But I guess why couldn't you? I guess trade. But anyways, I think 2 first-round picks is a lot. But I don't know. That's the type of head coach I want.
It's what Carolina gave away for DJ and more. Was it 2 first-round picks? 2
first-round picks and a 3rd round pick for Bryce Young. You mean? Yeah. But I think it just makes sense. Honestly, I would love Kyle Shanahan. But anyways, other guys who are out there, I saw in odds.
So we got the head offensive coordinator out of the Lions,
Ben Johnson.
It's that's kind of another unproven, but at least we got an offensive-minded guy.
Dude, he runs a great team.
Who we would not need to trade draft capital for. He should just be out there to sign, but probably asking for a lot of money.
Okay.
What are your feelings on? And you got Mike Vrabel,
So that's a defensive guy.
who we've got. Roman Dude's dad actively retweeting people saying, "Hey, stop with this nonsense of defensive coordinators, defensive-minded guys."
We got Cliff Kingsbury, who I've been on.
Do we think that he's actually out there looking for a head coaching job already?
Well, he was a head coach.
Yeah.
He failed in Arizona, and then he kind of teeter-totted around, went back to USC. Now he's back in the NFL. These guys tend to resurface.
I don't think that he would leave just yet, although I do think he will leave eventually.
Yep.
I do think it's like some gimmicky BS that the Bears would pull. It's like, oh, we're reuniting Caleb with his old head coach who has had no success as a head coach in the NFL.
They would absolutely love to spin that story. And then the other couple guys they have out there that they're talking about, Bill Belichick.
Shoot me if that happens. Podcast over if we sign Bill Belichick. I'm just saying that right now. Like, he's cooked. Like Brady left and he did nothing with that team.
Yeah, there's Joe Brady. He is the offensive coordinator for the Bills.
Okay,
he does a hell of a job.
That would be interesting.
I would be interested in that.
Lots of OCs can look good with Josh Allen, and they've got a great offensive line.
I'm pretty sure Joe Brady interviewed for a head coaching job last season, but he decided to stay for Buffalo, give it one more go with Josh, and they look great. Did you see Josh Allen's play on Monday Night Football, by the way?
Which one?
Was it Monday or Sunday Night Football?
Which one?
Dude. So he threw the ball. It was a snow game. He threw the ball to Amari Cooper.
To get lateral to him?
Then for some reason, he was like running behind him. Amari Cooper lateraled the ball to Josh Allen, who took it and then scored a touchdown.
So it counted as a pass and a receiving touchdown.
So he had,
is that how it got scored in fantasy?
Yes.
That's interesting.
And then, so you got, this is the best. So he got 7 points he got 10 points. So 4 for the passing, 6 for the reception touchdown.
Plus half a point in our league for the half-point PPR.
No, that's where it's interesting. Okay. 7 points, or 0.7 points for passing, or 7 yards for passing, 7 yards for receiving, but no catch.
Oh,
Amari Cooper
got the catch.
Amari Cooper got the catch, and then the lateral. So it was like you have a receiving touchdown and receiving yards and no catch.
Interesting.
Interesting. They used to score it. Cooper would get, I don't know, whatever. They used to score it up until the point he laterals. Now they give it all to the person who ends with the ball. Interesting scoring change. But anyways, so Joe Brady would be another one. Other guys on this list that I saw, Lincoln Riley.
Okay.
Who is the head coach, I believe, for USC. Then Lane Kiffman, who is the head coach for Ole Miss, or some other candidates that are being thrown around.
I just don't know.
Who do you like of that list?
I don't know enough about college football to say, hey, this guy's going to be able to transfer well to being a good head coach.
I think Lane Kiffman was in the NFL. He tried the NFL and failed.
So, I mean, here's the thing. We can go back and forth about like who we think could work out and wouldn't. But it's just like, I just want to see that, I mean, obviously, and we're not going to be able to validate this, but the Bears did their due diligence. And like I said, we can't validate that. But I also want to say that price was no issue and the personality of the head coach was no issue. I don't want to see the Bears holding back like, oh, this guy's asking for too much. He wants too much autonomy, or I think he's going to ruffle too many feathers around here. I don't want to see that.
Here's the problem with autonomy. So then, do you think after watching that press conference with Kevin Warren, you think Kevin Warren wants to give up any autonomy?
It doesn't sound like it.
That's what I'm saying.
It sounds like Kevin Warren wants to play things very buttoned up, close to the chest. He opened up this press conference with 8 minutes compared to Ryan Poles' 90 seconds.
Sounds like he's running the show over there.
Yes, and that definitely concerns me a little bit, just because.
Hey, Johnny, they're building a world-class organization.
Yeah, where the hell is the stadium going?
Oh,
did we even talk about the fact that they came to agreement?
No, that was just broke recently.
So it broke that Arlington Heights, they actually came to some sort of agreement on the taxes.
Yeah.
So that's a big win for the Bears. That's why they started looking elsewhere to begin with. But Kevin Warren doubles down, saying, "Hey, we're still looking to be on the lakefront."
He wants his cake and eat it too. He's keeping his options open.
I think it's posturing. It's just like, what are you going to do with this land here? Like, but it sounds like they got what they wanted. I just want to see them make a decision and put shovels in the ground. But
I mean, yeah, we got 6 years until they put shovels in the ground.
Well, yeah, but then he says it's only 3 years after shovels, and he says shovels are going in the ground this coming year.
There's another head coach on here I didn't see, Marcus Freeman.
Who's Marcus Freeman?
He's the head coach for Notre Dame.
Interesting.
So, anyways, let's do who I think are the top candidates. Let's
Sure.
talk about it. So, of the list, you tell me who you would want.
Kyle Shanahan.
Hang on, Kyle Shanahan's not.
Okay, not actually on the list.
That's not a legitimate.
Okay.
That's like, I mean, obviously Kyle Shanahan, whatever. Okay, so Cliff Kingsbury, Ben Johnson, Mike Vrabel. We'll do Thomas Brown, Belichick, and Joe Brady. Those are, I think, the legitimate guys.
I would go Ben Johnson, Joe Brady, Vrabel. Who else is on there?
Kingsbury.
I'd go Kingsbury, Brown, Belichick.
Yeah. So I think
That's how I would list those.
I go Ben Johnson, Kingsbury, Joe Brady, and then it doesn't matter after. But if Thomas Brown wins all these games, if he wins the 5 out, I'm willing to give him a look, man. I'm telling you. Even if he was 4-1, if he beats the Packers at Lambeau, like a commanding victory to end the season, I'm just saying, like, he's gonna get a look. And it plays right into the Bears. Cheat. Can you imagine?
I just like I said, it'd be a tough pill for me to swallow. But like I said, he goes 5-0, and like the players are raving about him, they're playing hard for him. Yeah, I guess you never know. I mean, you could find that diamond in the rough. I don't know how you because something like this is like the players start playing well. It's hard to quantify that as all the coach.
Yeah.
It's not like a player who like a Brock Purdy type who you paid nothing for and weren't expecting anything of, and then you see that he was playing really well. Even guys like Brock Purdy, like, oh, he's a system quarterback. So it's kind of hard to evaluate without like a good enough
system quarterback.
That's just like what people were
no,
saying.
No. I'm just saying. You mean what's his name? System? Who's really good?
Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, bring his system. Imagine you put Caleb in that system. I'm just saying, we can get really, really good.
So we got the 49ers this week. 49ers are very banged up.
So I was going to bring up that. So the Niners coming up this week. So what do you think the line is at? I haven't looked.
I haven't looked either.
What would you guess it's at?
Without CMC, and it's at Candlestick, I'm still saying that it's probably Niners minus 4.5.
That's what I was going to go with too. I'll say 5.5 then, just to get it spicy, so we're not on the same.
I'm thinking it'd be less. I would guess less if I could see it being 3.5 or 2.5.
It's a 3:00 slot too.
Yeah.
4.
4.
It's
okay.
4 points plus 4, which over under is 43. So yeah, the Niners have been extraordinarily banged up. They just lost CMC, lost Jordan Mason, Isaac Guerrero. Those of you who play fantasy, huge pickup. Sorry, Chad. Not sorry, I picked them up. Great story I told Johnny before, how I managed my fab all season.
So DJ Moore did not participate in practice. Roshan Johnson did not participate.
I love this. Unknown.
Elijah Hicks did not participate. Ryan Bates, concussion, did not participate. Keenan Allen did not participate. Darnell Wright, limited participation. Okay. Coleman Shelton, so the line is still real banged up. And then what about the Niners?
DeAndre Swift didn't practice?
Is that what it said?
Go down.
It didn't say DeAndre Swift. Oh, it did say DeAndre Swift did not participate. Yeah. So a lot of issues from that standpoint. Where's the Niners?
So I think Debo is just not right in the head. He hasn't been able to play very well at all. I think that there's -4 right there. Bears plus 160.
Where's
40.
the Niners injury report? I don't think it's on this list. But yeah, I'd like to know exactly who is out. Oh well. But yeah, so I mean the Bears have a lot of injuries, so
the Niners are super banged up. They're not out of the playoffs yet, though, which is really interesting for the Niners. So I think, they have much more incentive. Here we go.
Guard, Aaron Banks, Nick Bosa didn't participate.
I think Trent Williams is coming back.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. That's what they said. Mm-hmm. And so here's the thing about Isaac Guerrero, which I'm actually excited for his first game. He's like a 3rd-round pick or whatever. But here's the thing about the Bears. The Bears you can run on the Bears.
Yeah.
Like, you can really run on the Bears.
Yeah, no, it'd be a good pickup. Yeah.
But I'm just saying, though, I'm scared because, like, fresh legs, too. Like, you have to think about, like, everyone's banged up through the season. week 13?
And what we've
14?
seen early in the season, I'm not sure if this has continued to play out, but teams have often had huge letdowns the week after playing Detroit just because they play so hard. I know that was a huge trend in the beginning of the year. I'm not sure if it's played out.
But they also had Thursday. So it was a Thursday, so it's like a mini bye.
The Bears did have a mini bye week, and they're coming. Are they going to be energized? I mean, there's been reports that the locker room was jubilant after Eberflus was fired. Are they going to come in? Are they going to come out hot? Are they going to play for this guy who, it sounds like the offense is at least very much rallied around the last 3 weeks. Hopefully, everyone else will too. But at the end of the day, on the road, the Bears might be a little more banged up than even the Niners are. I mean, we'll see.
Have you I think I was wondering. I was thinking this to myself too. What do you think Eberflus is doing right now?
Probably just chilling with his family. Just catching up on some family.
He's got
time.
that really nice house too,
nice.
on the lakefront.
What do you think he's doing right now?
I don't know. Do you remember when Robert Salem got fired?
He was hanging out at the Packers like immediately. The Packers practice squads.
Hanging out with him, yeah. I guess the Packers head coach and him, they were the best men at each other's wedding sort of situation. I guess they're really tight. I don't know if he's still doing that or whatever.
I think you probably, I don't know anything about Robert Salmon, what his but you probably have to deal with something like that in your own way. And he probably just went, Robert was probably the type of guy who just I need to just keep myself active and, just kind of try and shake this off and just get this bad taste in my mouth. Eberflus strikes me as a guy who's probably just spending some time with his family and, they're probably making up, maybe they're planning a vacation or something like that. Hell, the guy's probably still getting paid his salary for the next 2 years. I guess it's hard to feel too bad for him. But.
So I heard this earlier and I looked it up and I looked up the stats. So how much money, this was as of 2022, how much money do you think is being paid to executives and head coaches that have been fired?
I don't know.
This was as of 2022.
As NFL or just the Bears?
I think the NFL and college football too.
Did Aaron Rodgers just talk about this in McAfee or something like that?
Yeah.
Something $800 million?
Yeah, that's it. $800 million.
Yeah. I did hear Aaron Rodgers say that. Yeah.
That is absurd.
The people who were fired.
That is. In my opinion, John, I think the best job in the world is become a head coach.
No, for sure.
Dude,
Ryan Poles should hope that he gets fired. Though, I mean, how many of these people go on to have more jobs after that? But no, it's true. Maybe they should stop.
How are these
guaranteeing? Yeah, all of these contracts should be guaranteed.
How does that happen?
Players aren't 100% guaranteed. That's a really good point, actually.
I was thinking about that too. Why are they?
Why are all these contracts guaranteed? Yeah,
I'm good for them.
Yeah.
What a bubble. I should become a head coach, football coach. Man.
You should, Kevin. I've been saying that for years.
I don't know. You see the way I run that Madden team.
Are you a leader of? Can you be a leader of 53? I don't think I could be a leader of 53.
Here's another thing I was thinking about too, about when I was looking at all the college head coaches, I think the college game has changed so much with the transfer portal, which is part of the reason why Nick Saban left. Yeah, and Andrew Luck is now the general manager of Stanford. Yeah, I saw that. So, but I just think though that the transition from college to NFL was so much more difficult because it used Pete Carroll, for example, couldn't cut it. Goes right back to college, kills that USC national championship. I guess he came back. He won a Super Bowl. You're right, in Seattle. But that was one guy, right? Yeah. But a lot of guys. Nick Saban. Yeah, haven't been able. Yeah, Miami failed. A lot of guys can't do it at the NFL level. Come back to college. Yeah. So the reason I'm saying that though, I think head coaches in the college arena are going to be much more fit to come to the NFL. Because these guys in college now, they're getting paid too. Now they're managing those personalities the same as if they are in the NFL. Yeah, I do think that it probably just does blur the line a little bit. Agreed. So I think maybe not this time around, but coming in the future, it's going to be much easier to make that jump from college to the NFL. But with that being said, I guess the last thing. What's the other? Do you have the other image that I have? Last thing. I just really want to discuss this because we've talked about it before, and it's something that's just it's super important to discuss and just the dysfunction of the Chicago Bears as an organization in general. So you draft Mitch in 2017, you trade up, you go and get him, you think you got a franchise quarterback from UNC, you fire John Fox. Yeah. Okay, doesn't work, you trade up, get Justin Fields. You fire Matt Nagy the very same year as well. You draft now your franchise quarterback in Caleb Williams. You fire Matt Nagy. I mean, we were sitting here before the draft and in the offseason last year just kind of looking at this aspect of it, saying that we cannot have this. Yep. That's the one thing that we need to avoid. Yep. And I think whether we were optimistic about Flus or not, and I don't think that we were really calling for his head, but we did just think that we needed to move on. Yep. Just because it felt like it was at least a 50-50 shot that Flus was not going to be the guy this year and get fired. And the coin flip ended up going that direction. I don't think it was a coin flip, John. Yeah. I mean, in retrospect, no, it wasn't. Yeah. The problem, though, when we were 4-2, I was just okay, the defense is looking good. The offense is, starting to look better. But I didn't anticipate all this to go. This problem, though, John, is backup. I'm just saying, like,
what do you mean?
like,
Oh, who they currently are?
what they became.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, like, I do not want to ruin Caleb
I
Williams.
don't. And for what it's worth, I believe in Caleb Williams, and
He looks so good, dude.
Yeah,
He
looks good. And now that they're under the Thomas Brown offense, it seems like it's clicking a little bit better. Granted, the first half was brutal.
You think Colin Cowherd was right?
I think Colin Cowherd's a fucking idiot, and
I'm just saying.
I think he just like says outlandish things.
But do you think Caleb though is unhappy?
What I will say is I have legitimate worry that if I were Caleb Williams and he had all these aspirations to be the best ever, win 7 Super Bowls, and the organization that drafted him botched his landing.
Yep.
He's not going to be able to win Rookie of the Year.
Yep. That's what I'm saying.
They're putting so like, and
how do you think he's doing?
The career that he probably imagined for himself. I think that there could be some animosity for the Bears that could brew. So there is something to that.
And let's take it one step further. Where's his hometown?
Where's his hometown?
Yeah.
I don't know, somewhere in the East Coast.
He's from Washington.
Yeah.
Look at what's happening in Washington right now. I'm just saying, like, do you think he's got, like, his head's, I'm worried is what I'm saying.
I think he could be, but I don't think that he is. Hearing him talk, I think that he's a competitive guy. I think Chicago is the right place for him compared to a place like Washington. I think that he wants that spotlight. I think he wants that smoke. And I think, for lack of a better word, I think that he wants the hype, and I think he wants to be in a place where he could be ascended to the level of a fucking god if he wins a Super Bowl here. Whereas, like, who gives a shit? Have the Commanders won a Super Bowl? That's not even a troll. Is that that's a real question? And if the answer is yes, it's because the fact that I don't know about it, nobody cares who the Commanders are.
I feel like they may have won one back.
I can tell you right now, the Commanders have not won a Super Bowl. Maybe the Redskins have.
Washington won the 1937 and 1942.
Really?
Oh, and then they've won 3 Super Bowls. Sorry.
Oh, really? They won 3, exactly. Yeah. Who they won them with? When was that?
Dude, my Roman numerals are not great.
Does it look old?
Here we go. Yeah, so they won 73.
Wow.
They won.
Their Super Bowls to 73?
Oh, yeah, dude.
Okay.
83.
Okay.
They lost 73, 183, lost 84. Am I warning you? 188 and 1992.
They've been in a lot of Super Bowls, actually. This goes to show, like, who cares? Like,
did you know the Redskins were trying to get their name back?
When?
Recently.
No, I did not know.
There was this report floating around that they were trying to get the Redskins back.
I don't miss it. Do you miss it?
The heritage of it is kind of cool. Like, I mean, heritage, but
wrong choice of words.
I agree. But how about the tradition of it?
Yeah, I mean, I understand, like, the W, the Commanders, and like that logo, and like, I mean, it doesn't.
The Commanders, their uniforms are cool though.
Yeah.
I like their uniforms.
I don't miss.
Why do the Hawks get to keep it though? I don't understand why the Hawks get to keep it. Why the Guardians had to get it. Why Florida State gets to keep it. Why Central Michigan.
The Guardians didn't get to keep it.
Why they didn't? Yeah. Why they didn't get to keep it?
Because their mascot was egregious. Redskins kind of has like a bad connotation, and I do think that the Blackhawks as an organization have probably paid enough respect.
Is that a Johnny Manziel reference?
That's important. But I've heard like that they are active in that community. I'm sure that they donate to their charities.
Why did U of I lost it though? And that was a great respect. And they respected the Chippewa.
I mean, what
was his name? Chief Chippewa. Whatever his name was.
I think they had a mascot that was literally them. I don't know. I think college campus is probably harder to like justify. That
CMU, Central Michigan University.
Yeah,
they kept it. I'm just saying. Just putting it out there. Anyways, but yeah, I'm worried for Caleb. I agree though. I think he does want that smoke and stuff like that. But the Rookie of the Year, you don't think he wanted that?
Of course, yeah.
His numbers aren't that bad. He's really turned it on the past few weeks.
Yeah. Tell you what, I will get on board with Thomas Brown if Caleb Williams wins Rookie of the Year. But he can't. I don't think he will.
If they win the next 5 games?
I think if Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels are both going to make the playoffs, and I think one of them is going to win it just based on that merit. The fact that you took your team to the playoffs as a rookie.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that it didn't work out for us, honestly, this year, Johnny. We were like talking like how this podcast could not become fun again, but
it has been a slog.
Yeah.
It has definitely been a slog.
know.
But, at least things are happening. There's
Yeah.
things to talk about.
Yeah.
And hopefully this will be a win.
Bears win this week. I got the triangle. I got the.
Do the Bears win this week? What do I feel? I feel yes. I just don't think that the Niners have enough in the tank. I think with CMC, it's just another gut blow.
I got the tools ready, Johnny.
I think CMC being gone is just going to be another check, another gut check. And I think the Bears are going to come out with the opposite of that, with like a lot of wind in their sails, just from this change. At least they better. So if you were to put a gun to my head, I would say I'm picking the Bears.
You put money on it?
I don't think I'm going to.
Ooh.
But I'm saying if I was forced to take action on this, I think I would if I decide to bet on it, I think I'll bet on them to cover.
4 points.
And I said last week that 10 is way too much.
Yeah.
And the Bears are definitely going to cover that, maybe not win. So
I think I'm going to put a parlay on Isaac Guerrero to go over 100 yards rushing and score a touchdown.
I wouldn't do 100. I would do 100. You're right.
I would too.
You're probably right about that.
Yeah.
Unless game script, unless we go off on them. I don't know much about 49ers defense, but we'll see. I say the Bears cover. If you ask me, I think they probably. If you ask me to just pick a winner, I'm going to say the Bears upset.
I love that.
I'm going to do it.
I could see it happening. The bump from firing the head coach. The Bears want to show the team that they really are, that they're not as bad as the record shows.
Mm-hmm. Which they're not.
They're not.
I think they're not.
They very well could be 8-4 right now.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. They could very well be 8-4. They have lost some egregious games.
Mm-hmm.
Games that they just slipped out of their hands. So yeah, I think the Bears can come out and win this game too.
We're sitting here a year from now.
Yeah.
Who do you think is our head coach in your heart of hearts?
You don't want my answer.
Just give me the answer.
Thomas Brown.
Thomas Brown? You think that's what you would put money on? You think that's what the smart money is? I think it's going to be
Mike Vrabel. It's too
Mike
fitting. It's a fitting head. That's a fitting hire.
I'll say it's going to be keep on forgetting his name in Detroit.
Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson. I'm going to say Ben Johnson.
Okay, so here's what I'll say. If Thomas Brown has a good showing, it will be him. If not, it'll be Mike Vrabel. I really do think it will be him, but because it's fitting for the Bears.
We'll see.
Fitting. All right, Johnny.
All right, that's all I got. Any closing words? We didn't name the game, and I have a name for the game.
Oh, what's your name?
We just make it simply the last game for Flus, or the Flus's last time out.
Flus's last time out.
Flus's last time out.
Yeah. Where on the street is he still on the sideline, holding that timeout in his back pocket?
Yeah, with no challenge flags.
Oh my God, dude!
Yeah.
I hope you're doing well, Flus.
So we have it is kind of sad. I think we do need to kind of commemorate this. We spent the last couple of years watching him, talking about him, rooting for him. I wanted him to succeed.
He's got a great haircut.
And that's probably why the reason he had a
beard.
great haircut. And you know what?
Watch him grow up.
He seems like a decent guy. I hope he becomes a defensive coordinator.
It was a great defense. I told you, keep him on as a defensive coordinator.
No, he's got to go. Jalen Johnson will slit his throat. But I wish him all the best. I wish it could have worked out differently. Definitely didn't want to see him get fired. I wanted to see him succeed, but it needed to happen.
John, if he didn't get fired, we would be. Last thing I'm gonna phrase you, and then we'll leave it at this. So there's 2 current vacancies in head coaching. The Jets
and the Giants. No. Jets and
the Bears.
No, there's somebody else. I actually have this pulled up. And there's a couple of potentials.
I mean, yeah, Cowboys on the hot seat. Dude, could you imagine if we bring what's his name in? That would be horrific.
Saints.
Oh yeah, the Saints fired their head coach too.
Yeah.
What's the best opening?
The Bears.
Yeah.
Not touching the Jets.
So how could we not get the best candidate?
Which is what I'm saying. I think we can't. We should get There's not that many openings compared to previous years. At least not right now. And I think that just looking at the list of teams, I think that there's not going to be as many openings, which is going to play in the Bears' favor. I think that we have the best situation with Caleb Williams, with the draft capital, with the cap space. This should be a place we want to go. But we said the same thing last year. So we'll see how things go.
All right, Johnny. Let's go Bears this week, huh?
Let's go Bears. All right.
Peace.
If you're still watching, you're a real one. Like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.
Damn.